Alright, Harry, prepare for awesomeness. And remember, there is no secret ingredient. It's just you. Alright, Poe, get ready to feel the thunder. Skadoosh. Ah, ah.
Everybody is kung fu fighting. Your mind becomes fast as lightning. Although the future is a little bit frightening, your life is your rising.
Kung Fu Panda, directed by John Stevenson and Mark Osborne, and takes a silly parody idea and the simplest story, yet somehow makes it awesome, of a panda named Po who's adopted by his goose father, Mr. Ping, serving noodles, but he dreams of being a kung fu legend and gets his dream when Master Oogway of the Jade Palace chooses the Dragon Warrior at the tournament. Only Po unexpectedly gets picked by Oogway to be the Dragon Warrior, much to the dismay of Shifu and the Five, who do their best to make Po quit. However, when former adoptive son of Master Shifu, Tai Lung, breaks out of Chorgum prison and is determined to take his revenge and get the Dragon Scroll, it's up to Shifu to finally trust Oogway, believe in Po, and train him to become the Dragon Warrior before it's too late. Now, when Kung Fu Panda came out back in July, summer 2008, people were expecting to hate it. Everybody look at the trailer, because the marketing for this film was terrible. They thought, this is gonna suck, this is gonna be one of DreamWorks' worst films, but I actually really liked the idea of it. I was probably the only person in the world that was actually looking forward to it and actually had faith in it. And when it did came out, it took everyone by surprise and surpassed even my expectations. It was surprisingly an awesome movie. It had everything you could want in a perfect film. Great characters, beautiful animation, an awesome soundtrack, an awesome message, and it took a simple story and a parody idea and added so much layers and depth and complexity to it, and created a world rich with mythology. That's exactly what this movie does. Kung Fu Panda is a masterpiece. I did, of course, review Kung Fu Panda 3 earlier this year, so if you haven't seen that review, please check it out. So I thought, what better time than to review the first two as well. And has the first Kung Fu Panda held up nearly 10 years later? Absolutely, it hasn't aged a day. Po is a fantastic protagonist. You'd expect him to be a dumb, bumbling idiot, but he's actually a really nice guy and genuinely talented, and they don't treat his obsession with kung fu as one of his weaknesses and make everyone make fun of him like they usually do. They treat his obsessions as one of his positives, as the thing he is gifted at and helps him strive to success. That's a great message of this movie. Do not be embarrassed by who you are, just follow your dream. And although Po is the chosen one, a cliched storyline with every protagonist that's been done to death, it does it brilliantly here. They don't just tell you what Po can do, they actually show you what he can do, and he's not just immediately good at kung fu. He has to work hard and really try, and because he is a bit overweight and not the right shape to do kung fu, that creates more of a challenge for him, and it helps us want him to strive towards success. We get behind him all the way. That's a great fact of life. If you want to reach your dreams, you're going to have to work hard. And Jack Black, absolutely perfect as Po. This is his best role. This was the role he was always meant for. And Master Shifu, voiced brilliantly by Dustin Hoffman. He could have been just a boring, generic master, kind of like Gandalf and Dumbledore, but no, he's completely different. He's such a complex and interesting character with an amazing character arc, because he is, of course, the former son of Tai Lung, and when Tai Lung failed, and he is now has the task of choosing the new Dragon Warrior, and when he tries really hard and trains the Five and hopes Tigress will be chosen, when Po gets chosen instead, boy is he pissed. But that's, and so the rest of the Five, especially Tigress, but That's understandable if you work really hard and hope to achieve, and all of a sudden just a lazy panda was chosen instead of you, who didn't have to work at all, wouldn't you be pissed off? But that's the great thing about Po, Shifu, and the Five's relationship. They don't just get along immediately. Of course, they're gonna hate Po at first. It's gonna naturally take time for them to trust Po and realize he's actually not that bad, and he could be the Dragon Warrior. In fact, Tigress is by far the best of the Furious Five, and Angelina Jolie's voice acting is pretty good, even if you don't really recognise her. But Tigress as a character is she's the standout of the five because she's the one that hates Po the most, as she was originally going to be the Dragon Warrior before he came along. She sees him as nothing but a disgrace to Kung Fu, and she's a complete bitch to him basically. And a lot just like Shifu, it takes time for her to realise, oh, actually, Po's our friend. He's a great guy. While the other members of the Five have little to nothing to do, they are really just in the background. Their voice actors, Jackie Chan, David Cross, Seth Rogen and Lucy Liu, all do a great job. They all have their individual style of fighting, and the Five all become much more fleshed out characters by giving them great backstories in the shorts, The Secrets of the Furious Five. And Mr. Ping, voiced by the wonderful James Hong, he's awesome. He's a perfect parent figure for Po. He loves his son with all his heart and wants his son to carry on his legacy, and even though by the end of the film he does accept his son has chosen a different life, and ultimately helps his son by saying the secret ingredient is nothing, which you just have to believe something special, which brilliantly ties into the film's message. And Tai Lung, what an amazing villain. This guy is a total badass, and he has such a tragic backstory. He's such a sympathetic villain. He starts out with a great childhood, then gets denied his goal, then gets super pissed off, understandably, then gets locked in prison, has nobody respects him anymore, and when he breaks out to make things right. So some people actually see Tai Lung as the good guy, and that's a compelling villain. But my absolute favourite character in this movie is Master Oogway, voiced by the legendary Randall Duke Kim. Wonderful voice acting from him. He's the Yoda, Gandalf and Dumbledore of Kung Fu Panda, and he's the greatest Kung Fu masters ever lived. He created Kung Fu itself, and he gives such wise messages that I still live by. Allow your mind to settle and the answer will become clear. Nothing is impossible. You just have to believe in that something is special, which is his message when he created the scroll. And he may look frail and weak, but he's a total badass when he needs to be. And his death scene's so sad and beautifully animated. Apparently that took them 6 months to animate when he ascends to the heavens, and that really upped the stakes when he died, because it made you believe how can Shifu possibly train Po without his master. Story is so simplistic. It's the simplest story you could think of. A nobody who becomes the chosen one has to train to become a hero to defeat the bad guy, but that works perfectly considering this is the first film, and it does leave plenty of room to develop her and make it more badass in the sequels, which is exactly what they did. Dreamworks always finds the way to make the simplest stories awesome by adding so much depth to their characters and adding an original world with so much backstory, history and mythology and beauty. I love how the movie portrays Kung Fu as a beautiful spiritual thing, full of so much knowledge, and you have to work hard to learn it. It's more than just cool fighting. I absolutely loved the setting for ancient China and the Valley of Peace. It's absolutely beautiful. I wanted to go there. It incorporates so many beautiful Chinese themes and cultures as well. I can see why China wanted to make this movie with DreamWorks. Thank God they set up an association with China to make Kung Fu Panda 3, and the animation of this movie, oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. It is beautiful beyond belief. It has now the best animation I've ever seen in a DreamWorks movie. This animation rivals Disney and Pixar any day. The way it uses its colours to tell its story, and the action in this film is incredible. Surprisingly, the action is fucking badass. I remembered and loved every single fight scene in this movie. Tai Lung's prison break, the Furious Five versus Tai Lung, Shifu versus Tai Lung particularly, that was an awesome scene. My personal favourite scene in the film, how there's so much conflict between Tai Lung and Shifu. Tai Lung is Shifu's personal enemy, and just seeing Shifu have to come to terms with what he's done and apologise to Tai Lung, it's truly heartbreaking stuff. Even after Shifu apologises to Tai Lung still refuses to forgive Shifu and give up his path for revenge, and almost kills his own adoptive father. And Po versus Tai Lung, which is the final battle of the movie. It's a great fight. It's hilarious and great fun and epic at the same time, which incorporates the movie's message of just believing in yourself. However, there's not much emotion to it other than that, because Tai Lung had little to no connection to Po, so they just met and fought, and that was it. Not much conflict between them at all. However, Po using the whooshy finger hold on Tai Lung was epic. Kung Fu Panda, one of the best examples of balancing comedy and drama. While it has plenty of comedy, it's comedic gold. It had me laughing at every single joke. It puts comedy in most DreamWorks' efforts to absolute shame, but it doesn't go overboard with the comedy. It doesn't overdo it. It slows down, and sometimes rightly removes the comedy to allow the drama and intensity of a dramatic scene to take effect. And because of this balance of awesome comedy and awesome action makes for brilliant entertainment and flawless pacing. There is never a dull moment. You are never bored throughout this movie. And appropriately, the movie does get more intense and less comedic it goes along, while still keeping some comedy and some heart. The greatest examples of comedy would be the Level Zero scene, and of course Po and Shifu's chopstick fight. Jack Black called his favourite scene in the film, and I can see why. It is comedy at its best. I was laughing my arse off throughout and had to get my breath back, and it also is a brilliant payoff to Po and Shifu's training. And Po actually uses his training techniques in his battle with Tai Lung, which gives the training some importance and weight. And the last praise I can give this movie is Hans Zimmer's score. It is one of his best scores. It's so underrated, especially Oogway Ascends. Oh, beautiful, so peaceful, and so Kung Fu Panda is absolutely brilliant. It's a masterpiece. It's thank God it didn't suck. It completely surprised us all, and even me. I had no idea I would love it as much as I would. It is still to this day one of my absolute favourite DreamWorks films. I give Kung Fu Panda 5 stars out of 5. Although Pixar's WALL-E won the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature in 2008, but for me Kung Fu Panda should have won. Well, I love you guys. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the review. And what do you think of Kung Fu Panda? Please comment and let me know. Please like this video and subscribe. Please follow me on Twitter and on Google+. And I'll see you all next time when I review Kung Fu Panda 2. Bye, guys.